Hey lovelies, my name is Emily and I'm going to show you today how I make my Cheekini underwear. I make it out of a 95.5 cotton spandex and I hope you enjoy this tutorial. Give me a thumbs up. Here is my beloved Cannabis and Rose print, and I am looking for my size small Cheekini pattern. Since the pieces are small, I actually make all my patterns on recycled paper so you can kind of see some random prints and writing on them. The tricky part about prints is that you have to be mindful of how they look after cutting it out. So often the prints is one way, so you cannot flip your patterns to save fabric. I've done this many times and I would have upside down whales. Not good. This particular one is mirrored in a cool psychedelic way, which means I need to pin the pattern on a dead center of the print or on a diagonal so that it doesn't even look like it's a mirrored print. In this case, I'm going to put my patterns on the center of the mirrored roses and leaves. I don't know if you can see here, but it is on the center of the print. I like to keep all the pieces in between my patterns for making bias strips later. They're usually about 1.5 inches wide, and I would sew them all together to make the waistband of the underwear, and also so that I use every little bit of fabric and not waste this super expensive fabric. Next, I use my serger to sew the side seams and gusset seams together. I find that if I decrease the stitch length, I can get away with not sewing it again with a single needle sewing machine. I will also serge the end of my gusset so that there are no raw edges inside the underwear. Here is all my bias strips all pinned together. I straight stitch this instead of serging because when you tug on jersey fabric, the raw edge just naturally folds outwards, creating an open seam. This makes the waistband less bulky when you serge it to the underwear. So instead of it being 4 layers where all the seams fold one way, it's actually 2 layers because they open on different sides. Does that make sense? I make the waistband about 80% of the top edge of the underwear circumference, so about 2 inches smaller when laying flat than the actual underwear. Then I would recommend pinning the waistband down evenly around the actual underwear. But since I've done this so many times, I just stretch out the waistband a little bit as I serge. So usually you would match the front to the front and the back to the back, and then ease it all the way around. This is my label that I've pinned to the center back of the underwear. I base stitched this down so that when I zigzag it on the outside, it's going to stay in place and not move everywhere, because satin labels are very slippery. And even though it looks fine right now, I just like to zigzag all along the edge of this waist seam just so that it lays really flat and just gives it extra reinforcement. Next, we're going to cover stitch all the leg hole opening. So my video stopped recording halfway through, but just imagine I went all the way around on both leg holes. Cover stitch is kind of tricky, so it takes me a little while and I kind of go really slowly. I'm still new at this. Here is our final underwear Cheekini fit. Here's a close-up of how the cover stitch looks. I would zigzag it if you don't have a cover stitch machine. That's what I used to do. A triple zigzag stitch works quite similar. And here's another close-up.